Welcome to Navy Paint, and in this video I'll be painting Nurgle Chaos Cultist. Let's crack in. Before painting, I've undercoated the model with Chaos Black from Citadel. First colour here is Mournfang Brown from Citadel, and this will go on the shirt and the pants, and this is done with 2 thin coats. The next base coat will be Mouldy Clothes from the Army Painter. This is applied with 3 thin coats. I've put this on the hood and the boots, and we will come back later to use this colour again. And also you should know that this colour does dry with a slight gloss sheen. So once I apply the wash later, we'll remove the gloss, but if you're worried about the gloss, just choose a different green. The next base coat will be Filthy Cape from the Army Painter, and this will be applied to his mask, belt and boots, and this is done with 2 thin coats. Here I've gone back to the Mouldy Clothes, and the other reason I've done it now is just because I've put the grey down and I find it easier to apply the coat of Mouldy Clothes. I've applied Abaddon Black from Citadel, and this will go onto the other boot and the necklace, and this is done with 2 thin coats with a little water. For the skin, I've gone with Rakarth Flesh from Citadel, and this is applied with 2 thin coats with a little water. For his pistol, his dog tags and the head of his weapon, I've gone with 2 thin coats of Leadbelcher from Citadel. For his hair, it's simple, it's just leather brown from the Army Painter, and this is applied with 2 thin coats with a little water. I've also painted the right hand wrist brace and the weapon rope with Mournfang Brown from Citadel. Here I'm applying Typhus Corrosion from Citadel. This is straight from the pot. This is a texture paint, it's got like a sand or gravel in it. And what it'll do, it'll give the metallics more of a rusty and weathered appearance. The first colour of the boils on his skin will be done with a Mephiston Red and water from Citadel. It's about an 80-20 mix. This is applied to the boil itself and also the areas around the boil to give it a nice infected and red look. Gone back to Leadbelcher from the Citadel, and this will be applied to his eyepiece and the studs on his face mask. With all the base coats down, now it's time to give it a wash. This is Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. This is straight from the pot. Now I've given it 2 washes. Once the first dried, I gave it a second coat. You can go 2, 3, 4, as many as you like. It just depends how dirty you want the model to be. With all the base coats down and the wash applied, now it's time to give it a dry brush to bring the colours back a little bit. The first dry brush will be Mournfang Brown over the Mournfang Brown areas, and then Mouldy Clothes over the Mouldy Clothes areas. While dry brushing, take your time, try not to get the colours on the wrong areas. If you do happen to get on the wrong areas, just apply another wash and dry brush again. The black parts of the model, I've dry brushed these with Filthy Cape from the Army Painter. The hair I've dry brushed Leather Brown from the Army Painter, and the silver areas I've dry brushed with Leadbelcher from Citadel. Now back to the boils, I've given each one a dot of Mythical Orange from the Army Painter. This is straight from the pot, just applied, leaving some of the red underneath. The final stage of the boils is using Poisonous Cloud from the Army Painter. This is a technical paint, and again this is just applying a dot on each boil, leaving the orange underneath. To paint the lenses, I've started with a base coat of Mephiston Red from Citadel. Then at the beginning about halfway, I've added some Flash Gitz Yellow to the paint, about an 80-20 mix, Mephiston Red to Flash Gitz Yellow. And I've kept adding Flash Gitz Yellow to the paint to lighten it up more and more until I was happy with the result. As a final stage, I've gone to Corax White, put a line in the bottom left hand corner and a dot in the top right hand corner of the lens. Here I got some red paint onto the rim of the lens, so I've gone back to the Leadbelcher from Citadel and I'm just touching this up. To finish off the main model, I've put some Ard Coat from Citadel over the lens of the eye. Okay, onto the base of the fun part of the model. The first coat is Leadbelcher. This is applied over all of the base. Once that was dry, I've applied 2 washes. The first was Nuln Oil. Once the Nuln Oil was dry, I've then gone over the model with Agrax Earthshade. All these paints are from Citadel. Now it's time to apply a bunch of technical paints to the base. The amount of each technical paint you want to apply to the base is totally up to you. This first one is Typhus Corrosion. We did it earlier. In the same manner as we did it earlier, I'll apply this in random spots around the base where I want rust and grime and a bit of this sand to look like weathering to appear. This next colour is Slimy Grime from Vallejo. This is from their Enviromental paint line, and I'm applying this like I did with the Typhus Corrosion in random spots where I want this slimy green to appear. The next paint will be Nihilakh Oxide from Citadel. Now with this paint I've discovered less is more, so I've applied this in little spurts everywhere. If you apply too much, just wipe it away with a wet brush or your fingertip. The next paint is another paint from Vallejo's Enviromental line, and this is Moss and Lichen. Now like the other two paints, I'm just applying this randomly where I think the moss might gather. The final weathering paint on the base will be Dry Rust from the Army Painter, and like the other 3 colours, I've just applied this randomly where I think the rust might gather until I was happy. For the wires coming out of the floor, I've painted half with Mephiston Red from Citadel, this is straight from the pot, and the other half with Abaddon Black from Citadel, again straight from the pot. And the final step of the model is to give the rim of the base a coat of Abaddon Black from Citadel. Here he is, ready to spread death and disease in Nurgle's name. Thanks for watching Nephew Paints. If there's anything you want to see in a future video, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya!